Hello and welcome to CityWorks. I'm your host, Kim Gravel. Since the beginning of civilization and the time of the written word, some form of record keeping has been necessary, and the library was born. The most common types of modern libraries found in a community are public and school libraries. Each has a specific role in society, and we will examine what these libraries do, where they get their material, what services they provide, as well as some local history and many other interesting facts. So stay tuned for CityWorks. Welcome back to CityWorks. Libraries have been around for centuries, providing people with a place to go for a wide variety of information. In order to meet the needs of various parts of the community, different types of libraries exist.
Well, there are many different kinds of libraries. There are school libraries, public libraries. There are libraries in universities. There are special libraries. Many large corporations have libraries of their own. There are parliamentary libraries, and of course many private libraries as well. In Canada, the earliest libraries were back in the 1600s, and they were generally formed by the Jesuits, and they were considered more private libraries. The earliest one in St. Thomas was actually a Mechanics Institute, which was formed in 1873, and it was located where the present art gallery is. And the Mechanics Institutes were started in Great Britain in the mid-1800s. They were mainly designed for tradesmen who were trying to elevate themselves. And they had lecture rooms or lectures, and they had reading rooms, and they had lending libraries. In St. Thomas, that was a very active part of the community. And then in about 1882, a Free Library Act was formed for the province. And St. Thomas moved very quickly to form a first free public library for the city. And that first library opened where the Zeller's store is, where the Zeller's store was, just above Morton and Locke Insurance. So that was really the first free library in St. Thomas. At about 1899, the library moved to the second floor of City Hall. And the problem with libraries was always a lack of space. So eventually libraries had to find other quarters. In 1906, the library, the Carnegie Building, was built, and that was right behind City Hall, presently used for the engineering and planning offices. But that library was established through the generosity of Andrew Carnegie, and I think we all owe a great debt to him from the States and Canada and worldwide for his generosity toward libraries. The reason for his generosity was as a young boy, when he was about 15 years of age, a gentleman in Pennsylvania gave him access to his own private library, and the boy felt that this was such a contribution to his further success as a very, very wealthy man owning a steel company, that he wanted to give something back to communities. So he donated, I think he had $500 million from the sale of his steel company, and he donated most of that back to several organizations. But he always felt that the best gift that a person could give to a community was, was a free library. And I would tend to agree with him wholeheartedly on that. So the old building across the street is a Carnegie Library. Again, eventually it outgrew its space, and in 1974 this building was constructed. And it was built with funds from the County of Elgin, St. Thomas, and the province.
Libraries, like any other business, have costs such as computers, books, personnel, and many other expenses.
Most of the funding for the St. Thomas Public Library does come from the municipality through the tax base. We also receive a provincial grant because a good part of our work really involves other libraries as well. If people come to the library and they can't find a particular book or something on a subject that they wish, we can borrow it from another library through what we call the Interlibrary Loan Service. So that's an important service, and it is funded by the province. Also, the County of Elgin gives us some support as well, because currently 25% of our users do live in the county. We also raise a fair amount of money ourselves. The staff have been very, very active in this past year, having bake sales and raffles and making strawberry jam and relishes and selling these things. So we've raised a fair amount of money. And also a fairly new organization called the Friends of St. Thomas Library have been extremely helpful in raising funds for us. And they do monthly book sales and also our annual jumbo book sale, which is held every summer. So that group has been most helpful to us. In the past year also, we've had many donations from service clubs and foundations and individuals who have supported our Adopt a Book program. So we're very appreciative of that support, because as everyone else is facing funding cuts, the library is in the same situation. So these other means of raising funds are very important to us. Of course, we also have fines. We do charge fines if people return their books late, but they're fairly reasonable, and the main reason for the fines is to encourage people to return the books on time.
The public library will often reflect the community's unique history and style in the books and material it stores.
Many libraries specialize in different areas, and that's one of the advantages of sharing things through the interlibrary loan system. For example, St. Thomas received a bequest back in 1954 from a Mr. Wren, and with the interest from that money, each year we buy special books, some of the what we normally call coffee table books, some of the large artworks that are then loaned to other libraries. Port Stanley, for example, collects a lot in the area of the Great Lakes history, and we can share those materials back and forth.
Information can come in a variety of forms, and as technology advances, that variety and volume increases.
The library has quite a variety of materials. Most people, of course, think of books, and that's what we have the most of course. We have a collection of approximately 138,000. About 30% of those are children's books. We do place quite a value on the children's services in this library. In addition to the books, we have magazines, we have newspapers from many different cities. There are talking books for people that can't use regular print, and these are delivered by some of our volunteers. They pick up the books from the library, take them to the people who can't get to the library, and then when people are finished with them, they return them to the library again. So it's a very important service, all done by volunteers. We have audiobooks for people that just like to listen to a story as they're driving, and we have a number of electronic sources of information as well. You may have noticed some of our computer terminals, and we also have compact discs that people can access Canada-wide phone books and many sources of information.
Knowledge is the key to success, and in order to get the right information, one has to know where to look, and the library can play a very important role.
One of the most important roles for the librarian is to connect people with the information that they need, and I think that's what the libraries will continue to do for a long time. So whether it's connecting a person with a book, and for a long time we had a slogan, the right book for the right person at the right time. And now that's moving a little bit into the area of the right information to the right person at the right time. But I think people will still want to pick up a book, take their time going back and forth and studying it, because there's still something magical that happens when you pick up a book. It's not like watching, TV, where you see the background, you see the people, or even listening to the radio where you hear the words and you make up pictures in your mind. But in a book, your mind is working all of the time. And the creativity that goes with reading is something that I don't think will be replaced. And that's the biggest value of reading and the biggest value of the library. So I don't see that changing.
The Children's Department of the Public Library offers a wide range of books and interesting activities for young children.
Children's Department has all the same services as the Adult Department. We also have some special materials that I wanted to show you. For the youngest children, we have what are called board books. They're actually cardboard. It's thicker than a cereal box. We have these puffy plastic books, which can be taken in the tub. We have cloth books, which are very soft but have a texture so that the children can, and we're talking toddlers and even babies can handle them and just manipulate them. Books are something to hold. We have audio books for listening in the car or in your room. But we have also books with cassette, so that while you're listening, you can follow along. We have them in English and French. You can follow along the words, and we found these to be an excellent resource when we were doing our reading encouragement program. Because if you listen and read enough times, it begins to make sense, and there's just a click that happens. Up in Children's, we have the Parents Collection, which is books for parents to share with their children about such things as sibling rivalry, lying, cheating, the new baby that's coming, where did I come from, potty training, problems like that. And the staff are all experienced mothers, and we'll be most pleased to help you with those. We have some special collections like our beginning readers, which we call blue dots, merely because they have blue tape on them. They're the beginning readers for up through grades 2, and then integrated into the rest of the fiction collection, we have what we call orange dots. And then we have a lot of other color-coded books as well to help the children find books on animals, books on sports, Canadian authors, things like that. Mysteries, that's the other color, and science fiction and fantasy. We have books in other languages as they do in the adult collection, and the largest collection being in French, of course, because there is the French immersion program at Wellington Street School, so that language does get used more. The Children's Department runs several programs. We have our Tales for Twos, which is a story time for 2-year-olds and their caregiver, one-on-one, in a group of at most about 12 pairs, so it's 24 people. And it's to get them used to being in a group, to paying attention to someone else, to how a story is constructed and how a story goes. And we do finger plays and sing songs and things. Then they move up when they're 3, for the ages of 3 and 4. We have preschool story time, where they go in without their caregiver. The caregivers stay out here. And that's kind of a preschool, it's called preschool story time. That gets them really ready for junior kindergarten and kindergarten, because they're in there alone with a teacher. They call her teacher. We have a Saturday story time, which is a drop-in. The other 2 programs you need to register for. We have a Saturday story time, which is drop-in, and it's still stories and finger plays and songs. And the age group is a little broader. It goes up to about 6, just until they get into school.
Children are not the only ones who benefit from the library. People from all walks of life utilize the library for a variety of reasons.
We're standing right now in the information desk area, or the reference department. I guess what we do mainly here is help people find the information that they need, whether that's a good book to read, the most basic, seemingly simple question that people have. I need a good book to read. That's part of our job. It's called Reader's Advisory. That can be a difficult question. You've got to find out what people have liked in the past and try and narrow it down to a particular book amongst the thousands and thousands and thousands that we have. Another corresponding part of the job is more the hard information side of things. People come in with a variety of questions, and we've got to find a information source to match that need. Can be as simple as I need to fix my Ford Tempo. And we've got that's a pretty easy one. There's a book on Ford Tempos, a repair book, we can find that. Other questions can be pretty difficult. I'm getting a divorce. What are the rules on child custody? Or I've got a child with a disease of some kind. We've got to find medical information for the person. So some of these questions they're pretty complex, and they're time-consuming. So that's why we have, usually sitting at these desks, are information assistants. These are trained reference people, and it's their job all day long to burrow out information for people to solve these information problems. So that's what we do here. On the other hand, the materials to get these, to solve the information questions, that's something that I do as head of the department. I'm in charge of what's called collection development. Books don't just appear magically on the shelves at the library. Somebody has to choose them and buy them and work at getting books into the library. And that's my job and another person's job here. So you'll see us sometimes going through catalogs, trying to pick out books that match up with needs in the community. You know, we sort of have it all up here in our head that, oh yeah, there's a lot of people looking at or requiring information on computers recently, internet, or medical problems that have sort of seemed to have risen recently. So we do that while we're sitting here at the information desk. Part of the getting these information sources is not just books. More and more now we have to find information outside of books. That can be in magazines. For magazines we use a thing called a CD-ROM index. It's just the old-fashioned bound volumes of periodical indexes been replaced by computer indexes. It's quicker and more effective. We've got a machine called InfoTrack that we use for that. We also have machines here. These terminals beside me are network terminals. So these terminals are connected to big computers downstairs that supply the information. So there's a group of CD-ROM disks that are running downstairs, a variety of different databases, and a growing source of information, which is internet access. So right here we can access the internet, and more and more we're finding information sources there. Just a year ago, internet was a lot of hype and not much content, whereas now we're finding more and more actual hard information that we can help people with. So that's becoming more and more important. That's why you find the information staff here often, staring at these computer screens. People can, wonder what they're doing. Well, that's what they're doing. They're using these computers to find information. So it's the old task of reference. It's just using different sources to solve an information need.
As computers can be used to find information on the internet, libraries have become very interested in utilizing this important tool.
We run a public service internet center, and we provide the library with free internet access. We have a walk-in center across the hall where people can come library hours, which is longer than government department hours, and that allows people to do job search. It allows people to check homework. We've had school groups in. They've done an interactive Hamlet in there. They do all kinds of searching on the internet. It's now an information source that is equivalent to looking at books for the library. So it's an appropriate place to have it in the library. We also provide a large agricultural site for local farmers. We have a large business site where we're hoping to attract new industry to the county. And we've got a large presence for the city of St. Thomas on the internet, so that anyone who's interested in this operation can see what St. Thomas is like, see what the lifestyle is like, tourism, and hopefully bring some more industry here. So our main focus is the general economic welfare of this area. We do have a small commercial side where people can dial in, and we have our own internet server here. The other thing we have is a large feed that runs the job bank for the whole nation. That will be moving to Ottawa soon, but at the moment everything runs through our line and then into the Canada Employment Centre, who are our major funding body.
While there are many different types of libraries, one of the first you would encounter is in a school. School libraries vary from elementary and high schools to the more advanced ones in colleges and universities.
School libraries serve the community in the school. So that's all the teachers in the school, all the administrators in the school, and all the students in the school. And a school library program provides equitable access for everyone in the school, to computers, to the information that's available within the school library centers. We teach all the students information literacy, which includes computer literacy, traditional literacy, that's print, love of reading, and media literacy. We provide for special needs students within schools, and the librarians, teacher librarians, select and acquire information based upon the curriculum guidelines set out by the Ministry of Education and also each specific school needs. So school libraries differ because there are different school needs. Each one, of course, is based upon curriculum guidelines, but each school differs, and so there'll be slight differences. Information literacy is taught right across the curriculum, and it's the teacher librarian's job to partner with teachers and implement that information literacy within the curriculum. And students will use this information when they go to a public library, a college library, or of course in the workplace. They may be asked to research new products or a competitor, and the kind of students that we want to produce are the kind of students who are accustomed to acquiring information and being able to use this information. So they will take the skills that they're taught in the school library and apply those skills in the workplace or in other libraries which they use.
In order to successfully become a teacher librarian, one must have the appropriate education and training in the field.
Training to be a teacher librarian must have a university degree and then obtain an education degree, then successfully complete years of teaching in a classroom, and at that point apply to take specialist courses to become a teacher librarian specialist. After those courses, many teacher librarians also have, as I do, a master's degree in library and information science.
Often, school libraries will share materials with other school libraries in order to save money and reduce duplication.
As a school library, we interact with other schools, and we maximize budget dollars by initiating collaborative purchasing of resources among departments and among schools. For example, we have in this school a magazine index, and it was purchased by each of the departments within the school, contributed some budget money in order to buy this for the whole school. As well, we will collaborate and buy resources among schools, and we will ask our teachers to teach a certain unit perhaps at the first of the semester, and the other school will teach it at the end of the semester, and that allows us to exchange the information. And so we'll buy one group of material and the other school buy the other, and then we collaborate. We plan and develop partnerships with other information providers in the local community and of course in the global community. So we have a very good working relationship with the public library, which includes we will inform them when we have major projects coming so they are aware. We have been very fortunate. They carry some journals which we do not carry, and so we have a list in our school so the students, when they're using the magazine indexes, can look at the list and see that yes, the public library gets that magazine. We discuss with the students how interlibrary loan works at the public library and teach them how to access that particular local service. University and college libraries, are fortunate. We are able to dial into university libraries, and on the internet, we use the internet for university libraries, and our students are able to access information provided by universities. For example, the University of Purdue in Illinois has an excellent site for students how to cite information, bibliographic information, and how to do resumes. And so we connect through the internet and let students avail themselves of information provided by universities.
One of the services to the school the library provides is to represent Central Elgin and its students on the internet.
On our internet homepage for Central Elgin, it's one of the first internet homepages for a school in Elgin County, and we focus on student activities. For example, our field hockey team won the Oxford Elgin Championship this year, and the next day students could go to the internet and actually see a picture of the winning field hockey team and a list of our team members and some other shots of games. So we have art, we have some very good artists in our school, and we have scanned their artwork in color and put the artwork up on the internet page. And so we change this monthly, and so many of our students are focused on the internet. It does two things. It makes our students very proud of their own work, and they should be. They do excellent work. It also makes them more interested in finding out how to use the internet, and it gives them a place to start to look on the internet. We also have a very interesting alumni registry, and this has been very successful. We ask people who sign on to our internet page, if they're an alumni from Central, to send back to us what they're doing now, where they're at, and a little memory of what they remember most about Central Elgin.
Libraries have changed with the times, from the early days of storing clay tablets and being accessible to the few, to the present of existing in cyberspace and where anyone can use it. If you have a chance, drop into your local public library and check it out. If you're on the internet, check out the St. Thomas and Central Elgin web pages. I'm your host, Kim Gravel. Stay tuned next week for CityWorks.